Good evening. I'd like to call the meeting to order, please. December 11, 2018. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Ms. Westphal, please call the roll.
Harold Brown.
Present.
Maxine Drew.
Present.
Janie Humphreys.
Present.
Brenda Jones.
Present.
Brenda Brownlee Page.
Present.
Aldina Nguyen.
Present.
Stacy Yeager. Here.
Need a motion, please, to approve the regular agenda.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the regular agenda. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passed. Good evening, Dr. Faust.
Good evening. So our team has gone out and we've done some modified instructional rounds. That consisted of our EDs, our deputy, and our interim assistant superintendent. And we were visiting schools, some that were on our CSI list, walking the schools, working with the principals, helping them get better, sharing with them best practice, and pointing out things that we need to get better on, and providing them with a list of, things that we have to do better for our kids. And so felt good to do it. It felt good to make sure that we were calibrated and that our principals understand that urgency doesn't mean quick, it means important. And making sure that they are not only just fast forwarding, but making sure that there's quantifiable and qualifiable information that we're using to serve our kids. We are also looking at our PD for our teachers and what that looks like. I'm excited about our principals meeting that's coming up this Thursday. The team has been working passionately on making sure that our principals are ready for it and making sure that they get what they need from those principals meetings. What I've shared with them is that when principals come to meetings, it should almost feel like a conference after they've left, that refreshing feeling so that they can go out and be empowered to make the decisions that are needed in their schools. So we're well on our way.
Great, thank you. I, along with a couple of the other members, we attended the Kansas Association of School Boards Conference held in Overland Park. Attended one session, one of the presenters, our very own Dr. Yeager, very enlightening, and the other, along with Ms. Jones and Ms. Humphreys, the legal authority of Kansas School Boards. That was likewise enlightening, and that it reassured us that we are on the right path, asking the right questions, and doing our job and our responsibilities. So thank you, Dr. Yeager, and thank you others for attending. Other members?
Well, I've been out to quite a few elementary schools the last month, and I've been concentrating on K and preschool and first grade. And it's just amazing to see the energy these little kids have for learning and how they're already in a pattern where they know what they do when it's time for math. They know what they do when it's time for reading. They get in their little groups and they move around. I was at Douglas the other day, and you know what happens when you take one picture of a child's work? Every child wants their picture taken. So I ended up with like 20-some pictures of little kids showing me that they could write their sight words. They were so excited, which makes me as a grandma very excited too. But the one thing I've really noticed that our district has improved on in the past 20 years, and I've been around that long, believe it or not, is that it used to be when you would go into different schools, what was being taught in one first grade was not necessarily being taught in the other school's first grade. I'm seeing consistency from building to building with the curriculum they're using. And it's really gratifying because I do know that we have kids that do move quite a bit. And for them to be able to go from Parker and go to John Fisk and have the same curriculum, be on the same page, they're not relearning something they already learned or missing out on something. So I'd really like to compliment the curriculum team and the principals and the EDs for helping the teachers get all of that online, because I think it helps our kids a lot. And I've done other things, but that was the highlight of my weeks.
Other comments?
Okay, I also attended the KASB conference at the Sheraton Hotel in Overland Park Convention Center on Friday, November the 30th, and then also on Saturday, December the 1st. It focused on inspirational and motivational speakers and several breakout sessions. I attended Friday all day for the Cultural Proficiency Workshop from 9 a.m. until 4 p.m., and it talked about how cultural differences can lead to first impressions and are sometimes not as accurate as they should be, and that we have to not form opinions or decisions based upon previous perceptions, but do it based upon facts. On Saturday, I attended a leadership strategy for educators. Embracing Change Starts at the Top, and it was presented by a gentleman named Garrison Wynn. That was very positive in teaching us to work on our strengths and to be focused on positive engagement. From 10:30 to 11:30, I attended another session dealing with board members and learning how to work collectively together to produce good work. At 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, I attended another one on influence and action, focusing on what leaders do differently, to look, to seek, and to encourage the process of success, to be able to do the best that you can, to develop brilliance and embrace the idea that responsibility is very important. And then finally, I met with the legislative committee to review contents of the document that they were going to present as a report that was going to be presented at the Delegate Assembly on Sunday. I enjoyed the conference as a first-year school board member because it was well organized, it was enlightening, and it was an asset to help me to be able to be educated a little bit more about the legislative process. It also allowed me to build a network of friends and relationships to be able to learn, to be able to expand a greater knowledge as far as what I can do as a school board member, to recognize that there is a big picture of necessity and a commitment to the role that I'm going to play. And I want to thank the members of the school board who were responsible for introducing it to me and letting me know I'm learning a great deal, and I'm just very grateful that I was able to attend. Look forward to going to other events that is sponsored by the KASB committee.
Okay.
Thank you.
This past week, I had it was a very refreshing trip I took to Topeka, Kansas, and I visited a school there, a dual language school by the name of Scott Magnet, and I went up and met with the principal, and had some very insightful talks with her about the school, the formulation of the school. And also she gave me a tour of the school, and I saw their teaching. I met their administration. They were very welcoming. And I was just really impressed with the significance of dual language or bilingual schooling, and how challenging it is and how much different it is than just your regular mainstream schooling, and what kind of methodology is involved in that kind of teaching. I was really, really impressed, and I, as I said, I talked to the principal. We had some very good conversations, and I also the former superintendent, who was an interim here. Her grandson attends the school, Scott Magnet, as well as the president of the Topeka board. His name is Patrick Woods. Mm-hmm. His son, he has two children who have attended there, and it's really a well-designed school. And I also approached them about having my colleagues, the board, visit the school. And I got this approved by Dr. Faust before I went down, and I talked to them, and he said it was okay for me to talk to them, and they were very welcoming. They're looking they look at this as an opportunity to kind of share. They're really excited about what they've done and what their plans are doing. It's a low-income school. But they're going through they're trying to increase their student achievement scores and their national ranking, but they're making progress and strides in the right direction. And so what I'd like to do is I'd like to talk to Dr. Fowles sometime in the future about maybe the board can go down and meet with them. And I wanted to see what it looked like, because I had no idea. It's something that I've always thought was important. I've had brief conversations with Dr. Strickland and Dr. Fowles about this. But it's something I think we need to look at. I think it's very significant. When we look at preparing children for the future, there's something that we have to incorporate into that process. So I was just really impressed. It was really a great opportunity.
Thank you.
I also attended the KSAB convention. It was enlightening to see the number of new board members and how exciting they were. And I'm really glad to hear that you all took something and you got something out of it. The last day, that Sunday, when the legislative report was given, it passed almost unanimous without any problems. And our inspirational speaker that Sunday was the Kansas City Wolf. And he's quite entertaining, and he's really got a story to tell. And the teaching that he does and everything. But this year the convention was well attended. The attendance overall has gone down from the convention, but it's starting to pick back up. So hopefully everything. But it was very well attended, and I encourage the other board members. The workshops that KSAB has, whether they're here or in Lawrence or whatever, to attend some of them. I think you would find it quite enlightening.
Most definite.
So, that's it.
Yes, I attended the KASB conference, and it was very well organized. I really enjoyed how we could network with other school boards throughout the state, school board members and superintendents throughout the state, to form connections and to discuss some of the similar issues and wins that we have for our students. One thing that I went to was the importance of data. One important thing they said about data is, with numbers, you can construe it however you want it to make it look.
Thank you.
So are we looking at the right information that we pull from the data, or are we looking at data and changing it to fit our needs? So I thought that was a very good workshop for us to, for me to learn more about how we pull data and ask questions, especially how it relates to our test scores. One of the facts that was brought up about how Kansas school districts on a website is scored, and how sometimes it makes it seem that lower income schools are scored lower because they include the environment and they include social economic statuses. So as a result, a lot of times it could be appear that schools are lower ranked, although statistically our scores are higher, or credits or college transfers are higher. And so they just reinforced the importance of asking questions. They said we have to ask questions so that we can understand. And if something doesn't seem right, it's to ask questions and to understand rather than passing it off. And the nice thing I heard about when other school boards share is sometimes we do ask questions on the data, but we don't know what questions to ask. And that stems from, because if something is always reported a certain way year after year, someone said it for the past 20 years, they've been reporting the same information on the same spreadsheets type of data, but is it accurate or right? No one ever thought to question it. So that along with other workshops was really well received. Also, the importance of strategic alignment from the superintendent to the board members to the community. Everyone has to know what our goals are as a board, as the goals are for the superintendent, and as board members, we have the obligation to help get the word out about what it is that our goals are, that we know for ourselves as board members how to articulate that to the community. So that was another great workshop I attended. Throughout the week, I did have questions about the Degree in 3 program. I did route those questions to Dr. Faust and Dr. Strickland, in which hopefully we'll get a report or an update on the Degree in 3 program and how it's doing, because there's some parents who have questions about that and how it's working for our district. But that's all I had.
Thank you. Now we move to the board updates. Mark Twain Student Council presentation. Leslie Stewart. Welcome. You brought grown people with you.
Hello, I'm
Hello.
Leslie Stewart, and these faces behind me are the faces of future leaders, reporters, writers, designers, producers, and if I'm not wrong, a future Elon Musk back here. They are also student council representatives for Mark Twain Elementary School.
Hola, yo soy la maestra Stewart y estas caras que ven atrás de mí son las caras de los líderes del futuro, reporteros, escritores, diseñadores y productores. Y si no me equivoco, Elon Musk de esta generación. Ellos también son los estudiantes del Consejo Estudiantil que representan a la escuela primaria Mark Twain.
We'd like to thank you, Dr. Faust and board, for allowing us the time to have our hard work, creativity, and vision with you today.
Nos gustaría agradecer al Dr. Faust y a la Junta Escolar por permitirnos el tiempo para compartir nuestro trabajo, creatividad y visión con ustedes hoy día.
Our responsibility as student council leaders is so to work with our school and community to make things better. And well, 2 years ago, our recycling bins were removed from our school and we want them back.
Nuestra responsabilidad como líderes del Consejo Estudiantil es trabajar con nuestra escuela y la comunidad para hacer cosas mejor. Y nos gustaría su ayuda. Hace 2 años, nuestros botes para reciclar fueron quitados de la escuela y nos gustaría tenerlos de regreso.
We collaborated with students from Miss Armstrong's audiovisual class at Wyandotte High School, my future high school, to create this short film for you. Please enjoy. This just in. We have been notified that a school district in America is not recycling. Each day they are throwing away thousands of lunch trays, milk cartons, plastic spoons, forks, and paper.
What? Where?
Kansas City.
Which one? Missouri or Kansas?
Kansas!
It's almost 2019. Don't they know how important recycling is? I thought everyone recycled. It's the children's right, and it's the adults' responsibility to allow them the opportunity to recycle.
Our investigative reporter, Camilo Ham, is heading to the scene right now to get to the bottom of this. Iana Orpeza and
Jimena Laguna, signing out.
That's too cute.
we are here on the scene to witness the horrible effects not having recycling at Mark Twain Elementary School. The students here have been experiencing the consequences of not recycling since their bins have been removed from the schools in 2016. It has been just 2 short years, and look at the horrible devastation.
Pretending day by day that someone somewhere will soon make a change. We all a part of God's great big family. And the truth, you know, love is all we need. Beyond the world, beyond the children, beyond the ones who make a brighter day. So let's start giving. There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives. It's true, we make a better day, just you and me.
What would you do if there was a child standing right in front of you, asking for an opportunity to recycle? Americans use 85 million tons of paper a year. Every hour, Americans throw away 2,500,000 plastic bottles. At Mark Twain, we believe every child deserves a better earth. We know you do too. Please help us fix this problem before it's too late.
It's so cute.
I believe show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride to make it easier. Let the children's laugh.
We don't have a stool.
Did you know that the #1 reason why recycling programs fail is because people are not educated on what can actually be recycled?
¿Sabían ustedes que la razón principal por qué los programas de reciclaje fallan es porque la gente no está educada y no sabe lo que actualmente se puede reciclar?
We are here today to ask the district and Denver Trash Company to work together to find an affordable way to bring recycling back to our schools.
Estamos aquí hoy frente a ustedes para preguntarle al distrito escolar y a la compañía Defenbach que trabajen juntos para encontrar una manera razonable de empezar el programa de reciclaje en nuestras escuelas.
If given the opportunity, we plan to work with other schools in the district, educating them on the rules of our recycling bins so that our program is a success. Please help make this possible.
It's my future. I'm worth it.
That is so cute. It's my future.
Are there any questions for our future? No. Oh, thank you very much. We are quite impressed.
So whose idea was it to come up with the recycling challenge, or?
Every year for student council, we come up with a plan how we're going to make our school better and ways that we can support our community or work with our community. And this year we just brainstormed some different ideas. And this year was more about what can we do to help our future, 2 years ago, we did the fence, our soccer fence, that was letting soccer balls out, and we were able to get a fence put up so that we weren't causing traffic problems in our neighborhood. And so this year, that's kind of what we talked about. We talked about the different things and made some lists, and this is what they've come up with together.
I want to commend all of you for your boldness to come up and speak. It's really important that we listen to the youth and that you share your ideas. So thank you for making the videos and having a voice. You have a voice, so I really appreciate you guys coming up.
And I'd also like to say, sometimes it's not always the school board, but also the community at large who hears what is being said. And if we may not be able to come up with a response, at least the community will know, and there may be others who can help. And I really appreciate the fact that they want to have a voice and they want it to be heard. And hopefully we can resolve that for them. Thank you.
We are on YouTube, 50 views so far. So you can find the video to watch it.
Thank you.
Don't take your seats, come on up and we'll come out and shake your hands.
That was easy.
Translator, Mr. Ham, thank you for coming.
Baby chair. Thank you again. Well, Ms. Levers, that's a tough act to follow. Public Library update, Carol Levers, Director of the Libraries.
Good evening, Dr. Nguyen.
Good evening.
Board, Dr. Faust.
Good evening.
With our monthly report, I'm happy to also have with me Alicia Houston that will help us launch our library app with you tonight. So if you want to take out your phones and if you go to the Apple Store or a Google Play Store and try and search for KCKPL mobile, or mobile, as you would say, and download the app. So I'll just go through this, and then she will take her time to walk you through, and everybody else can get your phones out as well. So again, we have our mission, vision, and values.
You said go to what?
That we share every month. And then November stats, our circulation for November, we had a 16% increase compared to November 2017. Our year-to-date circulation is up 28% more than the same time last year. With current patterns and circulation trends, there's a good possibility that we will hit or surpass our 1 million circulation by in our 2018-2019 fiscal year. So, fingers crossed. E-community, or our electronic services for November. Our stat shows an increase in usage of our e-resources, specifically Access 360. Access 360 is the books, e-books. Hoopla, that's our TV shows, comics, movies, music, and just a few e-books as well. And then we also have Flipster, and we have 17 different categories on Flipster magazines. And that can, from arts and design, literary, lifestyle, men and women issues, sports, etc., through politics, but 17 different categories that you could choose from. And also Canopy. And Canopy is just movies. So basically, that goes up in the winter times, just similar to paid services like Netflix. People tend to do the E rather than just check out books. So if you note at the bottom there, the blue box, we have noted a fair amount of engagement with our advertising tied to the winter push, which translated into an upswing with our e-card signups. So this time we added our programs and our outreach as well. The program numbers have included our successful system-wide program for Dia de los Muertos that we've shared with you last month, but that helped contribute a 19% increase in program attendance when comparing November this year to November last year. You'll also note that the mobile library programs and outreach are a little lower than normal. Generally, they usually increase during springtime and summer, and then during the winter, we slow down a little bit. So upcoming at KCKPL, we're pushing our e-resources, but also, it is also the reason why we have brought back our adult winter reading program. So we're starting to sign up December 17th, which is upcoming Monday. And the program will run from January 1st to February 18th. We're also having the school libraries do an e-resource program from this winter break through spring break, trying to get the kids into the e-reading as well. Our e-community push will continue through January. So at this time, I'm going to ask Ms. Alicia Houston to launch our new app for the patrons. Thank you.
Good evening, Dr. Faust, Dr. Nguyen, board members. Thank you so much for having us here this evening so we can talk with you about our new app. This is something that we've been working on with Kapira Technologies. Kapira Technologies works with various public libraries throughout the United States to help develop library apps for patrons. As Carol, or Director Levers mentioned, it's available in the App Store and the Google Play Store. At this point, we have a Spanish version that should be coming out soon, so we're hopeful that'll be any day now and that we'll be able to have that as well for our patrons. So essentially, the app, what it allows people to do is search our catalog and be able to locate information that we have within our system. It includes a digital card, which is something that a lot of patrons have been asking for. So essentially, you'll be able to link up your account, and then you have your card on your phone, which I will walk you through in a moment in terms of how to do that. There's a feature that allows you to scan an ISBN from a book and then be able to see that if it's in our holdings with Kansas City, Kansas Public Library. And it also has link ups to our calendar, e-resources, research help, and also connecting with us over social media. So in order to link your account, you would go to the My Account, pardon me. You would go to the My Account area, and then it is the button to link my account. From there, you would enter your library card and your PIN number, and then click on Validate. And if you're successful, you'll have the message that says Success, and then you'll be able to do all sorts of other magical things, like get your digital card. You can find that at the bottom of every screen. You'll be able to click on it right away and get to it. And then also from there, in your My Account section, you'll be able to view your records so you can see what you have checked out, what you may have on hold. You can put holds into the system through our app as well, which is fun to be able to do. And then also you'll be able to see if you have any fines as well. If you have that, you can be able to pay it there. So in terms of our catalog search, you can do a keyword search just right at the top of the screen under the search catalog area, or you can dive in if you're more wanting to look at books or movies, music. It's pretty self-explanatory, but you'll be able to click on that area and search what you're looking for. The function I like about this area is the New button. So when you click on that, it automatically opens up to provide you holdings that are new in the system within the last week or two, so you can see what we have that you can go check out right away or may be available to you. We have our library information section, which then gives you our general overview, how to contact us, directions to our libraries that'll pull up, I think, through Google Maps or whatever you have in terms of service, if you have an iPhone, Apple Maps. It provides a link up to our schedules for our mobile libraries, along with being able to sign up for our newsletter service, which I would highly encourage you doing. You can also click to visit us online. Our event calendar section ties in directly with our online library calendar, and it pulls that information through. This allows you to search that calendar system on the app and then be able to click to see more details about that specific event. Our Connect with Us provides information in terms of our social media, including our Facebook page, which, as we've discussed before, is quite popular in terms of how our patrons like to interact with us and find out about some of our events. Along with a way to email us. When you click on the email button, it does give you, I believe, an opportunity to connect with different parts of our library. In terms of our e-resources, these are our most popular ones. As Director Levers just mentioned, Access 360, Hoopla, Flipster, along with Tumble Books, which is specifically for children, and Canopy. When you click on those, the part that I like about it is that it gives you the opportunity to go directly to the app if you have it on your phone, or you can open it up in a browser as well on your phone. In terms of the research section, we have link ups to our database information resources, so you can look at our databases from A to Z or by subject matter, depending on what your preference is. We have a quick link to tutor.com along with the Kansas City Star Online edition that we offer through our database service Newsbank. And then the expert services will allow you to connect with our F.L. Schlegel library if you have a nature question, our Kansas librarian if you have a genealogy question, our mobile services team, and also our art exhibits person as well. And if you want a reference question, you can get it to that through that as well. So those are some of the highlights of our new app. We're very excited about it. We think that this is something that patrons have been asking for, especially that digital card aspect and also that scan ISBN options, I think are pivotal in terms of being able to connect more with our patrons. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Well, thank you. I know we've had a conversation about engaging students, and this would allow them to have their library card in their palm, right?
Right, for the public library site, yes.
So, question about tutor.com. Previously, you had to be at the library site in order to access tutor.com. Did that change, or do you still have to be in the library?
Unfortunately, you have to. It's just the way tutor.com. They were working on it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think actually at this point with tutor.com, so long as you have a library card with us, you're able to access it.
Public library card.
Right, a public library card. So if you are interested in getting into that service and using it, on the public side, you can get an e-card. If you're at home, you can go ahead and get an e-card, and you can access it immediately right away after you get that e-card service in place. So it'll require you to create an account with tutor.com, but that's in order to be able to track your progress as you're working through, if you're getting research help or having them look over your cover letter or your paper that you've written for class, or if you're trying to study and learn some things as well, and for example, doing sort of ACT prep or SAT prep, it'll work with that as well.
Right, because before it was just the access of you couldn't do it outside, but I'm glad to know that it's something different that we can access it a different way.
There should be ways in by using the Kansas Public Library cards and using that online e-card feature as well.
Okay, great. And then, so currently library cards are valid for 1 year and then you have to renew, is that correct?
It's 2 years.
2 years and then you renew. So how is this e-card different? Do you still have to renew every 2 years or are there limitations on that?
That's a great question. So with the e-cards, it's on the 2-year basis as well. And so what happens within our system on the back end is we have notification when a group of people, they're about to have it expire. So what we'll do is we'll send out a notice to them saying, this is about to expire. If you're interested in keeping it, you don't have to do anything. We'll go ahead and renew it for you. But if it's something you don't feel like you need anymore, simply reply back to this email and we'll get it covered for you.
So will it renew the other library card as well or no?
Not a physical library card, simply the e-card.
So you still have to go in to renew? Okay.
Exactly, yes.
Okay, great. And then, let's see. That's all the questions I have, but thank you so much. I really appreciate the online tool. I'm a fan of many of the databases on there, especially Hoopla and the and the databases. So I really appreciate this. This really brings us up to being in the 21st century for our library. So
We're very excited to introduce it.
At the end of the day, I think we still want to encourage our students to find a way to use the library, whatever means that it takes.
I think it's great to encourage everyone in the community to use the library.
Right, and I'm there, but right now, some need more than others.
Sure.
So.
How and when or if have you presented this to the schools?
It's going through all the librarians.
Okay.
Yeah, we just wanted to do this first.
Right.
They already know it's coming,
Okay.
and all the librarians
You
will
have
be using it.
presentations made?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Good deal.
Great.
Other questions, comments? Thank you. Oh, excuse me.
What about the parents? You said the schools. Is there some way through PTA that they'll know and expose them to everything as well?
We haven't done that, but usually we have a table when they have PTA meetings or anything that they have the parents come to the schools, and we will have staff there to try to share that with the parents.
And of course, possibly on the district website, it'll be mentioned there as well.
Exactly.
But then everyone doesn't I know I'm saying that, they don't have the
Internet?
technology.
Oh.
But for those who do, let's utilize every way that we can get them involved and show them that they may not have their personal laptop, but how they can utilize the library, come up and take advantage of that. I'm just saying, let's utilize every means that we can to get them involved and give them an opportunity to utilize what's available. If they can't afford it, at least you have the library, and that's a way to get some things that you need.
Sure, I understand. Yeah, no problem. We'll do that, and if schools want us to come, the public libraries to come and help out, we'll do that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Ready? Item C, new central kitchen update. Mr. Clements, Director of Physical Properties.
Madam President, Dr. Faust, Board. Doug Clements, Director of Physical Properties. Wanted to come to you tonight to give you just a very quick update to remind you that we have more than going on than just the bond projects. And so we have this central kitchen. We are through the planning process with the city. We do not have building permits yet. We're working on that now. Expect to get those pretty soon. We are currently out to bid for this project. I thought this was an opportune time to invite Luke Dietz and his team from McCown Gordon to come and share with you some of their efforts that they've made on those bidding efforts. Wanted to do that a little bit ahead rather than come and present it after the fact. So with that, I'll just turn it over to Luke and he can go through that process.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, Dr. Nguyen, Dr. Faust, and board members.
Good evening.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here. We're humbled to sort of share what we're trying to do from a bidding perspective and MBE, WB participation. My colleague Pat Contreras is with me, and he can help with some questions as well. And I haven't done this. Okay, so sorry. I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Luke Dietz. I lead our K-12 group, and I am responsible for oversight on the kitchen project. And today we just sort of wanted to share an update with you, a little bit about the project and the efforts for the project, but also the efforts in the community. We really do believe that workforce is a really important part of making sure we're talking to folks in the community about the project. And so first for us, it starts with really good community partners. We have, and I apologize for the slide here, looks like a font thing, but we've been working really hard to continue to enhance and develop relationships with those organizations that help represent a whole diverse group of contractors, suppliers, and vendors, and continue to do that. Those folks have been a huge help for us in helping spread the word about the Central Kitchen Project over the last several weeks. So that also involves outreach to multiple chambers, vendors, suppliers, as well as networking and recruitment events. We've engaged Parson and Associates, communication specialists. They helped actually put on a networking event downstairs at 4:30 this afternoon, in which we had probably 40 different contractors in attendance. It was a really great chance to not only share about the project, but develop relationships. And we really do believe that even if we can't be successful with them on the kitchen project based on how bids come in, we really do want to develop relationships that have a long-term and lasting impact between our different organizations throughout the years to come. And then through those relationships we have with chambers, we're also able to spread news about the project through social media. I'm sure you guys talk a lot about it for the school district. We're finding it can be actually pretty powerful from a contracting perspective and sharing information about the projects. And so we were able to translate into Spanish and share that as well to try to get as much participation as we can on the project. And so this is just a quick snapshot of the different packages that are involved. Again, these bids are due on the 18th, and so we've tried to really break down the package and create all sorts of different opportunities for folks to respond to in an effort to try to reach out to as many different contractors as is possible. One of the things that actually got a really good response a little bit ago, and again, I apologize, it's hard to read, but I was at an event a couple of months ago, and MBE firm approached me about how hard it is in commercial construction to manage cash flow. And billings on a monthly pay cycle, which is a traditional experience, can be really hard to keep a business alive, to avoid going against the line of credit. And so what McCown Gordon is doing on the Central Kitchen Project is for certified minority and women-owned businesses, we're going to pay for their labor on a weekly basis. So we'll let them do a weekly draw to our firm. We'll essentially advance them a check or finance a portion of that project. Our payments will still stay on a weekly draw that you would perhaps approve in your consent agenda. But all in an effort to try to help them with the cash flow perspective. It got a really strong response, so it's downstairs this afternoon, and so we hope that will allow lots of folks to participate. And not only that, but it helps them provide a more cost-effective bid. And so lots of firms, when they recognize they may need to go against their line of credit, may have to include those finance charges. And so that would eliminate potentially that need to do that. So we're hopeful that will help lead to an even stronger response. So that's a little bit about the project. We tried to keep it brief, but I also wanted to just talk a little bit about the workforce. We really believe that we have to be very intentional, and the projects that we build need to reflect the community that we're in.
Exactly.
And I think it's no secret that there are really great jobs in construction, but we do struggle getting a diverse workforce in there. And so as an organization, we're really committed to that, and are spending a lot of our time and resources in an effort to try to help with that. And so some of that is up on the screen. It's participating in Kansas City Construction Career Academy. We've helped with job fairs here in this district a lot. Obviously, the Diploma Plus and the academies. I chair an advisory board with Robert Hoffman at Wyandotte High School, focused on construction, architecture, and engineering. I'm also involved in the National Institute for Construction Excellence, which puts on iBuild, which is an organization or an event you may have heard of, but it's really meant to try to get kids excited about the construction opportunities that are out there. It's a little bit of what we're trying to do, and we really do hope that we'll help create opportunities for the youth of this district and other districts in the area as well. From a community engagement standpoint, we have tried to do a lot to just help the kids here, and whether that's a backpack drive or coming and reading at Mark Twain over the summer, or food drives, that type of stuff. And we want to continue to do that and look for avenues to do that, and would encourage, if you see opportunities where we can become involved in that, please reach out. Sometimes they don't always work, to be honest, but we do really want to be a part of this. We do feel a connection with your kids. And so I just wanted to share that as well. So as a company, there's several things that we're working on to help advance this, and we're always working to strive to enhance our efforts. We've reached an agreement that still has to be approved by Kansas City, Missouri, but we're helping mentor LM2, which is a MBE construction firm owned by Latasha McCall. It's a really great opportunity for us to share thoughts and ideas about how she can grow her business and advance it. We have an inclusion committee that really works a lot to help advance diversity and inclusion efforts within McCown-Gordon. We're hosting some workshops for our diverse partners there's 3 of them in 2019 that will focus on how they can be a profitable firm, what good project management means, and then how they can stay abreast of technology. So no different than what the district may be facing. There's all sorts of technology choices in construction, and some of them carry with them considerable cost. And so we just want to provide some thoughts and guidance on how they can best manage that. And then one of the things I'm really proud of is we're 100% employee owned. And so it creates an opportunity for all of our associates to be an owner of the company, to live by our core values. But they all have a stake in who we are and what we do as a business and those efforts in the community that we take part in. And so that was really it for the presentation. I tried to keep it brief. Obviously, you have a lot of things going on in the district today, but if there's any questions, we would be glad to answer them to the best of our ability.
Well, thank you for coming, because it's very important that we have a face with the name.
Sure.
And I'm sure you're aware of our conversations about inclusion and resources flowing back to our community.
Sure.
Our citizens are paying the bills, and so there is a desire to make sure that quality jobs they have opportunities as well. And
absolutely.
In the past, there have not been. So you know the source of our concerns.
Sure.
So again, we appreciate you coming, but this cannot be the last time we have some interaction with you, and we look forward to
absolutely
more. Other comments from?
I would like to thank you for your out-of-the-box thinking on the cash payment, weekly payments. because cash flow is a concern for small businesses when they're starting up. And that is a great way to help them become successful and give them experience. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah, thank you. You know, if I might, the only reason we even recognize that was a challenge is somebody in the business community talked to us about it. And so my sense is there are lots of great ideas out there and we want to listen to them. So, I mean, we want to be a partner in that, and that's how that came about. And so please share those ideas with us as we go through the process.
That's really great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any more?
Wonderful.
Or, excuse me, how are you? Are your bid plans, are they in your with your community partners? Is that where your bid
Yes, they
plans
should
are?
all be with our community partners. We have them on our bidding information as well. So we've tried to get access to the information out as far and wide as we can to provide access to everybody.
That's good.
Well, before you leave, nice seeing you again, Mr. Gutierrez. It's been a while. So thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Please have a great evening.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Item D, vacancy update. Walter Thompson, interim assistant superintendent for HR.
Good evening, Dr. Nguyen.
Good evening.
Dr. Faust, good evening, board.
Good evening.
We have a brief December report for you.
And before Mr. Thompson said, I spoke with the recruiting team this morning and had them, you'll see it look a little different than what it has done in the past. And so one of the things that we did want to celebrate is some of the celebrations of where we are with our fill rate, so that you can see that, because I know that we always see what we don't have, but we wanted to show you where we are with our fill rate.
Thank you, Dr. Faust. As you can see, we have 98.7% of our certified vacancies filled. At the moment, we have 5 general education teacher vacancies. We also have 22 special ed teacher vacancies. As you know, we started out with a great number of vacancies. So we have worked tirelessly to bring that to a conclusion where we can fill all the vacancies. And we're still working. Our last job fair was on December 1, and we had competition with some snow, but we had a successful job fair. We've extended 3 offers out of that job fair. And so that's the brief report at this time.
The offers that's been extended, are those for special ed or just general education teachers?
They're special ed, all 3 of them are special ed.
Great. Thank you.
I have a question, just for clarity. When you say 98.7, that means these individuals are certified in their field and they're teaching the subject matter. These are not subs filling in. Okay.
These are all the hired.
These are hired.
Okay.
Yes.
And then I just want to say again, this is something I keep getting from people that I see in the community, that we remember that we need diversity. I'm not saying go down and just pull somebody off the street, because you shouldn't have to say we want quality. We do want quality, but we want diversity. And the parents keep saying they want to see this, and they have a legitimate concern because children need to see themselves. So we need to keep that in mind, please, when you're filling these positions. Again, I shouldn't have to say quality. To me, that's a given. You want the best. But we need to have some diversity too. And I'm going to keep saying that because people keep bringing it to me. We need to see some diversity. And I don't think that's an unfair statement, considering the makeup of the student body in this district. We need to see that.
Thank you, Ms. Page. We will keep it under consideration.
Thank you.
One last comment. And Dr. Faust, I'm not sure if you've had the conversation about innovative school districts, but that today there was a notation, and I'll get to the question, that because of the, for lack of a better word, freeing up of restrictions, there was the thought that that would provide more opportunities to hire because you didn't have the restrictions of licenses and things like that. Some school districts have found that that has not provided them with greater success. Have we had a chance to analyze that? And it's just recently. Some of the districts are choosing not to remain as innovative. But have we had, that may be something, I'll say, the first question, have we had a chance to discuss that?
We have not. However, in prior school districts, we discovered some of the same things that you were talking about. And so we just hadn't brought that. One of the things that I do understand is that having quality is important. And right now, it's Kansas, there's just a shortage of teachers. So in the event that, yes, if people can get there, we have all other incentives and that will help teachers get the certification. And we're just not getting teachers who come in. And so that's the thing is, if we can get them here, if they can go through the background, they go through the interview, we can help them get the certifications that they need.
Right. Have you had a chance to have that conversation internally?
Yes, we are discussing, those opportunities. As you know, we still have the alternative program called the Fellows Program, in which we are, entertaining qualified college graduates who didn't go into education when they were in college, but decided later to go into education. We have 3 cohort groups that's working presently in the district. So that is a way, and that program is headed up by Ms. Shelley Beach. But yes, we have had the discussions.
And I guess while this is not relevant directly, but we've had some feedback as far as, and probably Ms. Peppers is more attuned to answering this. What about training for our substitutes?
Sure. We offer the training when they're first hired. There's a series of trainings that they go through, but also we have online through Talent Ed, our platform that does trainings. But obviously, as we're hearing things, if there are certain pockets or if there's a hot spot or something that we need to go and just do one-on-ones or group trainings in a particular school, then we can just do those. But we also partner with the professional development team to get things that are needed.
I guess the real question, though, is how are they informed? Because, we're getting feedback that they're totally uninformed.
That of training or?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, every single one of them, new hire, they come to the workshop, so they cannot even start until they go through the workshop series. So that is a non-negotiable.
I'm sure you were copied on some of the emails we get, so there is a conversation.
Okay.
There's chatter, back chatter.
Okay.
That there is some perhaps gaps in service, so just we must pay attention to it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Other comments, questions? Thank you. Now move to community comment. Ms. Westphal, do we have any? Tina? Ms. Tinsley, topic snow day pay for nutritional services staff. Welcome.
Good evening, Board.
Good evening.
Dr. Faust, Dr. Wynn. My name is Tina Tinsley, and I'm the cafeteria manager at White Church Elementary. And with me tonight, I have Stacy McDowell. She's the cafeteria manager at Northwest Middle School, and Jeannie Cleary, who's cafeteria manager at Schlegel High School, and several other of our nutritional service employees. We are dedicated employees that show up every day and work in challenging environments and provide quality food and great customer service to our students. We have a concern regarding snow days and late starts. All hourly district employees do not receive payment for the snow day or the 2-hour late start. And most of us nutritional service team members live paycheck to paycheck to make ends meet, as well as work 2 or 3 extra jobs. Due to the latest snow day and late start, nutritional service employees' Christmas checks will be 6 days minus 2 hours. And the paycheck for Stacy McDowell at Northwest and all of her staff will only be for 4 days minus 2 hours. I myself am having to choose between buying Christmas gifts for my 6 grandchildren or having to pay my electricity bill. And many of our fellow employees, cafeteria managers, and members of our staffs are in the exact same situation or worse, and we won't recover from this well until after spring break. Last year, I wrote a letter to the Human Resources, the Superintendent, and the Board of Education asking that hourly staff receive pay for snow days and as well as some paid holidays. Several of our surrounding school districts, including one that I used to work for, Blue Valley School District, they get paid for their snow days and some holidays. And I am asking tonight that you provide us with the same benefit as all other employees. Pay us for the snow days and the late starts. As an example that this is possible, when the Royals went to the World Series in 2015, we all received a full day's worth pay. In my understanding, the funds to pay hourly staff are already budgeted, therefore not costing the district any extra money. Another possible solution to the pay hourly staff for snow days and holidays is having benefits moved to being PTO, paid time off. That would allow staff to use the time that they need, that when they need it, and stop staff from using disability time as vacation time, because it's otherwise you lose it, or you use it, or you use it or lose it, sorry, which is highly unproductive. So with that, I thank you for listening and hope to hear.
Thank you.
Is that it? Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Nguyen, could we get a copy of the letter?
Sure.
If you had a copy of the letter you read so we could know the details that you recommended.
And especially as we move into the budgetary process, we will pay attention.
Give it to her.
No, I can't see. Thank you. Reports of the superintendent.
We'd ask that the Kansas City Board of Education accept the audited financial statements for financial year ending June 30th, 2018, submitted by Kristen Woodbury, Executive Director of Business, Dr. Kelly Mather, Chief Operating Officer, and as recommended by myself, Superintendent of Schools.
Good evening, Board.
Good evening.
Dr. Faust, Dr. Nguyen. We're here to discuss the audit report for the 17-18 year, and I have Audrey Oderman here from Mice Hauser Accounting Firm, and she's going to briefly talk about the audit and then answer any questions you have.
Thank you, Kristen. As she said, my name is Audrey Oderman. I'm going to go through the audit report, and then you can stop me along the way or wait till the end to answer any questions you may have. I'm going to start on page 1. It's always a good place to start. So this is our auditor's report. This report goes through and it talks about management's responsibility in regards to the financial statements, the auditor's responsibility. And I want to talk a little bit about that paragraph on the bottom of page 1. Anytime you see the word adverse, kind of makes people nervous, so I want to talk about that a little bit. That paragraph on the bottom of page 1 is talking about GAAP financial statements and an opinion over GAAP financial statements. You don't have GAAP financial statements, so we can't give an opinion. That's all that paragraph is saying. Don't want anybody to get scared over that paragraph. So just saying you don't have GAAP financial statements. We move over to page 2, the very top paragraph there. That's your actual opinion over the regulatory basis of accounting, and that's the accounting that's the basis that these financial statements are reported on, and it's an unmodified opinion. That's the highest opinion that the financial statements can receive. It speaks to the directive that you give your staff and the work that they do every day, not just the few weeks when we're out here. And it probably feels like an eternity when we're here, but it's really just a few weeks. But it's the work that they do throughout the year that is shown in that unmodified opinion. If we go on to page 3, this is probably my favorite part of these financial statements because it's an area that you can just very quickly look to see all of the finances of the district on one page. So it shows all the funds, shows the cash balances, the receipts that were brought in, and the expenditures by fund, and then it shows your cash balance for the whole district on that page. Starting on page 4 are the notes, the financial statements. There's really a lot of good information in here that talks about the district's policies and procedures, the budget process. The largest note within the financial statements is probably on page 7, and that's your long-term debt. So it talks about all the different debt instruments that the district has entered into and the payment plan over all those debt instruments. A lot of the remaining note disclosures talk about things like compensated absences, CAPERS, pension liability, and employee benefits. After the notes of the financial statements, and that starts on page 13, there's a page in here for every fund that the district operates. If there is a budget for that particular fund, it'll show the budget, it'll show the actual receipts and expenditures that are going in and out of that fund, and it'll show the prior year amount. So it's really a lot of great detail. If there's a particular fund you're interested in, you can see the revenue expense system last year compared to this year and compared to that budget that you approved back in August. I'm going to skip forward quite a bit to page 41. So any entity that spends more than $750,000 in federal aid has to have a special audit. We call it a single audit. And it's an audit of those federal programs. On this page, you can see all of the money by program that the district received in federal funds and the amount that it was expended by those particular funds. The district is considered high risk, and the reason that you're considered high risk is because you're on the regulatory basis of accounting. It doesn't have anything to do with how you operate your finances. It's just strictly because you're on the regulatory basis. So what that essentially means is we have to audit a higher percentage of your federal programs than if you were low risk. So we audit at least 40% of these programs every year. The way that we determine how we're going to pick a program is we look at major programs, those larger programs, and make sure that they're audited at least once every 3 years. So this year we picked Title I, we picked Improving Teacher Quality State Grants, and Head Start. And we don't just look at invoices to substantiate expenditures within those programs. We also look at a lot of compliance reports. So reporting that you have to do to the state, or reporting that you have to do to the federal government, making sure you're not pulling cash down too fast. There's a lot of really detailed compliance in each one of these grants. If you go on to page 43, you see the results of this particular part of the audit. And if you see right in the middle of the page, it says unmodified again. So that's the highest opinion that these particular grants can receive, and that schedule can receive as well. This isn't just done at Kristen's department, it's done at these individual department levels, and they really have done such a great job over the years that we've been working on this audit to make sure that they're in compliance with the report and that there's internal controls over these compliance requirements, and I think just have become better and better every year that we've worked on the audit. So again, it's received an unmodified opinion without any findings. If we go on to page 45, this is our second letter of communication in these bound financial statements. And this letter talks about internal controls and the work that we do over internal controls. We can't give an opinion over internal controls. Our professional standards don't let us do that. but we can tell you if there's material weaknesses or significant deficiencies. If you look through this letter, you'll note that we did not note any of those items. Kristen and her staff email us, call us multiple times throughout the year with new transactions that are occurring, new programs that are happening, and ask us for our advice. And that really, I think, helps in making sure that you have a proper internal control environment around your transactions throughout the year. She does an excellent job with that. If we go on to page 47, this is the report that is over that single audit, that schedule of expenditures of federal awards. If we had any findings, we would note it in this letter. Any control issues, we would note it in this letter as well. If you read through here, you're going to see it's very boilerplate language, and we did not note any of those findings. Okay. You have any questions for me?
Questions, comments?
No. It's very clear.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Ms. Woodbury. We need a motion, right? Need a motion, please, to accept the audited financial statements for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept. Any discussion?
No.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passed. Dr. Faust.
I'd ask that the Kansas City Board of Education accept the first read leased option for temporary storage for the shop hut as submitted by Dr. Kelly Mather, Chief Operating Officer, Lenora Miller, Executive Director of Operations, as recommended by myself, School Superintendent.
And while it's off, we hesitated to commend and wish Dr. Mathers good luck. So you'll have to do it for us.
Definitely.
Well, she's not here this evening. No.
Ask Doug to come to the.
Where is he? Oh, there he is. Okay.
Good evening again.
Good evening. Could you describe what's
behind?
Right, so can I pull up Google Maps? Are you all familiar with what we refer to as the Hut Complex? Okay.
Yeah.
yes or no? Please
Well, I do.
bring us
It's
up to
down at
speed.
It's down the street.
18th Street in parallel, it's part of the land property where Northwest Middle School is. It sits out in front of the old kitchen.
Kitchens.
And the storeroom. There are actually 4 buildings there that we have used for a long time for storage of various
Mary Lynn was 4.
equipment. There's the large newer building. It's about 5,500 square feet. It's the one you see. It has, I think, 6 to 8 overhead garage doors on each side of that. And then there's the old Quonset hut sits there. That's about 4,000 square feet. There you go, right there. So this is the new building, newer, it's not new, newer building. It's about 5,500 square feet. This is the old Quonset hut. That is, like I said, about 4,000 square feet, and then there's some mezzanine area in it. This is an old picture. This is, I refer to those as our sheds. That's about 1,500 square feet. That's where a lot of our crafts and trades will keep some of their equipment. And this portion of the building over here is really a salt dome. We store our skid steer loaders, tractors, trailers, other various pieces of equipment. In this building, in the Quonset hut, we have a fairly large supply of tables and chairs that our Truck 30 will distribute around throughout the district when a school is having an event. We think we found some temporary location for those over here at NCO. This is all slated for demo because of the new Carl B. Bruce Middle School that's going to be built on this site. In fact, they've started the demolition on that kitchen, which is why we're building the new kitchen. So we have a lot of equipment that we don't have any place to put right now. We have it kind of tucked away various places. We have our skid steers over here right now over at the North Central office, kind of back in where we park our vans. They're kind of in the way. We have to move them around. So we were looking for someplace, a temporary storage location until we can find a permanent replacement for the hut complex. I don't think we'll need all this space when we get to that permanent solution. But we do need somewhere to put this equipment right now to get it out of our way, but still make it accessible when we need to use it. We'll use those skid steers for snow removal and that sort of thing. So Dr. Mather had asked for me to look to see if I could find some properties for lease, which we did. We kind of narrowed it down to 2 properties. One we mentioned, I don't recall, there's a property that's owned by Stannion Electric, which is one of our vendors. And I can pull that up here too if you'd like me to. It's over off of 635 in Metropolitan. It's only about a 2,500 square foot, very nice building, 2,500 square foot building plus a fenced 1 acre tract of ground that they would also include in the lease. I went back, asked them to reduce their price, which they agreed to, and you have a copy of their proposed lease, I think, there. There was also another property that we found, actually looking at a different property that this leasing agent had for lease. He suggested I look at it. It's just a large empty warehouse. It's right down off of 18th Street and Kansas Avenue, basically. The address, I think, is 13 or 1415 Osage. It's right off of 18th Street. It's right down the street from John.
Can you get us the exact address, please?
Yeah.
Because Dr. Faust, are there just one? Is it duplicate copy?
As far as the lease?
Here? Correct.
I'm sorry, I'd never received the lease from this Osage property. He told me he was going to have it to us today. I'll have to follow up and get that to you tomorrow. So you'll have 2 leases to look at and compare and see what you want to do.
I think we have.
You probably have duplicate copies.
Correct.
Yeah, if you have 2, you have duplicate copies.
Right.
Yeah. 1413 Osage.
Mm-hmm. It's just one.
Yeah.
Right. We don't have the other. Do you have the price?
The Stannion property, I believe, was $1,850 per month, and that works out to be $22,200 per year. Both of these properties will do it on a month-to-month as we need it. The warehouse property, which was for 5,000 square feet within this, I'm guessing is a 50,000 square foot big empty warehouse, for $2,000 a month or $24,000. And both of those prices would be all-inclusive of any kind of utilities or anything.
And what is the address of our current warehouse?
18th and Parallel.
No, the one that we purchased on Cheyenne.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's 1112 Cheyenne.
1112.
Yeah, and that was to replace the storeroom that sits back behind the hut complex, right? So this was the storeroom area that we were replacing with that property on Cheyenne.
Right. Well, Board, the last time would have been almost a year ago to date. The manner in which we have been presented in the past, property to purchase, there has not been time to ask questions or for you, if you are interested in viewing. So one, you do, thank you for the 2040 South 45th address. Please get us the correct address for the bulk industrial.
Yeah, that was 1413 Osage.
Bless you.
And then when you do provide us the
other lease,
we'll have something to compare it to.
Absolutely. And hopefully I'll get that to you tomorrow. I apologize.
Can't make it happen if it doesn't happen.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So I appreciate that.
Okay.
Did you say they were month to month?
Both would be month to month, yes. Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now move to the consent agenda. Any items any member want to have set aside?
No.
Hearing none, I need a motion, please, to approve the consent agenda as printed.
Madam President, I move that we accept the consent agenda as printed.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passed. Item number 7, payment of bills. Questions? Who will answer these questions, Dr. Faust?
So we have Kristen.
Okay.
Kristen's here. Kristen and yes. She's over here.
She's looking around. Come forward, please. Dr. Yeager?
I just had a question. I had asked about Google Fiber partnership because I know we're still paying Time Warner and other things related to cable. But do we know what's going on with our Google Fiber contract? Because when they first agreed to come here.
Joe Fifes can speak more directly.
Thank you.
Yes, Dr. Yeager, we have 35 schools right now that are connected to Google Fiber. There's no charge for the Google Fiber. There were a few schools where they weren't able to follow Time Warner's connections, and they had to do some digging or boring, and they charged us a nominal fee for that, usually about $1,000 to $2,000 for that construction. But other than that, there's been no cost. There's no monthly recurring cost.
So why are we needing Time Warner then?
We still need Time Warner for the wide area network. And we only have, for as far as internet access goes, we have a 2 gig connection, 2 gigabyte connection here, 2 gigabit per second connection here. We have a 1 gigabit per second connection at 625 Minnesota. So the schools that are not on Google Fiber are sharing those connections, the 2 gig and the 1 gig, and they're split, about 2/3 on one, 1/3 on the other. And that's, if one of those fails, one of those connections fails for the schools that don't have Google Fiber, they're moved over to the one that's still working. And the same thing is true for Google Fiber. If one of the Google Fiber connections fails, we can switch back over to through the wide area network, which connects all of the buildings together and to the central office, and then out either the 2 gig connection that's here to the internet or the 1 gig connection at 625 Minnesota to the internet. Now, it is possible to run a VPN, virtual private network tunnel, from each of those Google Fiber sites back to the central office. And we've actually looked at that, but there are a number of issues when it comes to filtering, when it comes to connecting to the servers that are still at the central office. We have servers here, and we also have backup servers at 625 Minnesota as well. So if we had to drop all those Time Warner connections, at least for those buildings that have Google Fiber, it would be possible, but it wouldn't be ideal. But it is possible, yes.
Okay. I just wondered what the rationale was for...
To have both?
Right.
Because it's not costing us anything. The sad part is there are a number of school districts that did receive Google Fiber that are just not even using those connections at all. In fact, our Kansas City, Missouri school district has some. They're not using them at all. And they're trying to change that. There is an indirect cost, and that is a firewall. Again, for security reasons, we need to have firewalls at each one of these sites. And in those firewalls, or next generation firewalls, they also have content filtering built in. So,
okay.
Does that answer the question?
Well, that does, because I just wondered what the rationale was for keeping both of them when we have one for free. Why are we paying? And just if that had been analyzed to see if we truly needed.
Right. Well, the Google Fiber truly is just, all it is just a connection
Okay.
right out to the internet.
Okay.
Right. So there wouldn't be that connection either to each other or back to the data center here
Right, I
or
get it.
625.
Yeah, that's what I needed to know. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good?
Yeah.
Okay. Any others? Ms. Woodbury, I've noticed this the last couple of times. What is the credit card treasurer Board of Education?
That is just how we pay for the district credit cards, the people that have the credit cards. So like the student activity, if they're going out to games and they need those cards for traveling, or we have some that are virtual cards here. It's just set up as a separate vendor for Board of Education. It's just the method how we're paying the
Because this
bill.
is new.
It is the last several months, yes. It's just
Right.
a method because they directly debit our bank account for the payment, and this is an accounting of it. It's just a different way we account for it on
All right,
bills.
thank you. Any other questions for Ms. Woodbury?
No.
Okay. Need a motion, please?
So moved. Pay bills.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. I'm knocked out again. To pay our bills. Dr. Faust is making a joke up here. We need no jokes. Been moved and seconded to pay our bills. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passed. All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming. We now will need to move into executive session. So I need a motion to recess to executive session to discuss superintendent's evaluation pursuant to a non-elected personnel exception under the Kansas Open Meetings Act. How much time?
Second.
How much time?
About 15 minutes. Good. Okay, so I need a motion for the board to recess at 6:35. Is that 6:35? For 15 minutes to discuss the superintendent's evaluation pursuant to an exception for non-elected personnel under the Kansas Open Meetings Act. And the board will return 6:50 with no action to follow.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Thank you. Motion passed.